Cisco Stealthwatch Enterprise 7.x WebUI top alarming host. So Stealthwatch allows us to run behavioral analytics against platforms where we're able to quickly see hosts behaving badly, right? And alarms are on the dashboard here. So we can see a host here with data hoarding, recon, concern index, exfiltration. So it's something that we probably want to have a quick look at, right? Now, when we look here, we can do an external lookup. We can look at the source IP. There's some tetration integration. We can also do top reports, applications, ports, protocols, hosts, peers, conversations, and services. And then we can also look at flows. But what we're going to do here is we want to look at this host, and we're going to look at the applications or top applications running on this host, maybe to get an idea of what might be going on. And when we do that, very quickly, based on the actual search, in this case applications, it already filled out some of the core elements required. So the search type is top applications. You can see here we can add additional attributes to our search if we wanted to do so. We will change the time range though for the last 24 hours. Now, once we do that, we can restore defaults. We can load previous saved search, and we can also save this. This is something that we want to do a lot of. Maybe a SCADA environment talking to the business network, right? We want to make sure that it's not able to do that maybe, right? So we can build out these queries and save them and use them anytime. So here we went ahead and did the search. And as it's rendering, we can start seeing some things around SSH, right? So we can see SSH/SCP, client server. Look at the amount of data, 158 gigs. So what we can do from here is we could pivot into flows themselves, and that's what we're going to do. So let's take a look. You can see while that's rendering, I'm showing you some of the additional applications that we've discovered, like Salesforce, etc. Now you can see it pre-filled in the attributes. So connection is SSH or SCP, right, for applications. Now we can see here again, there's that top flow. We've got the subject IP address. We see the port or subject port. We see the amount of data. And so what we might want to do is look at this a little bit further, right? So we can see number of packets. What's interesting here is that we see that we've actually put this in confidential servers. So what I've done here is clicked it and changed the layout, and you can see it looks a little bit different, right? You can see that it shows it from a client server perspective, and it's showing you the amount of packets per direction. Again, you can change the layout and you pivot back to what we've seen when I originally came to this search or flow query. Now, we can manage columns. Now, there's tremendous amount of attributes that are available to you. So when you're in the columns or manage columns, you can select this. Now, I've already went ahead and selected things like encryption for future videos. But you can see your subject, host name, host groups, interfaces, parent file hash. You got peer information, right? And then you've got some general information. So we're not going to add anything here. Like I said, I've already added encryption for future videos. But what we want to do is just select that subject IP. And this is going to hone in. Now we're going to look at this host and everything about this host, right? So we can see the alarm categories at the top. On the left, though, we see the host summary. And we can pivot into flows, history. We see the host name, last seen, first seen, policies associated. If there was ICE integration, you can actually quarantine and unquarantine from here. It's not showing because there's no integration. We can also see on the left side of this traffic by peer host, we can see inside and outside type communications. We see the last a bunch of alarms that have been triggered. And now we're looking at the security events and suspect data hoarding. It tells us what we're seeing here, right? It says what it's observed, what is expected, and it gives us a description of what that is. Same with port scanning. So you can see there's a couple things that are interesting on this host, right? We've got suspect data hoarding. We've got port scanning. We've got high total traffic. So traffic from inbound and outbound exceeds the acceptable total traffic values, right? We see address scan activities against a subnet, right? So at this point in time, we've got a lot of good information. We see tremendous amount of data being sent here. We see it scanning additional hosts for port 22 in this case. It looks like address scan TCP 22, and it gives us a little bit more of a description. You can see suspect data loss as well. Here you'd have users and sessions if you had ICE integration, cognitive if that was enabled. I'm going to show that a little bit later. And here we have internal flows. So you can see here, there's the application traffic and the throughputs, and you can look at that from an external perspective as well. So pretty cool, right? Very quickly, we know we've got a host that we might want to run additional analysis on or pull it off the network at this point until we know more, but we know the host is acting in a manner of which is not normally seen in the environment. And some of the communication patterns and security events suggest that it may be compromised.